practice. So we are starting with Power BI today. Power BI is a Microsoft product and it is used for data visualization. Okay. So what we will be looking into, we will be seeing unlock insights on any data. So you can use Power BI to get into the insights of any data. We will also talk about Power BI overview and turning data into business advantage. So what is BI? BI stands for business intelligence. And when it is attached with power, that means powerful business intelligence. So that is what is Power BI all about. So why we need visualization and why we need to present the data into visual format? Because the world of data is changing. It is increasing 10x every 5 years. So every 5 years the amount of data that you see is going to increase 10 times. 85% from new data types. So every year you get new data types. So every time data format is evolving. New data is there. Big data concept is already there. Do you know what is big data? Large amount of data. Like Hadoop. Okay. Consumerization of IT. Now what is consumerization of IT? Consumerization of IT means that IT is being consumed by millions of people across the globe. Okay, so someone when invented internet, people said that what it will do. Now everyone is using internet. No one can imagine. We cannot imagine our life without internet. So IT is very popularly being used, and 4.3 connected devices per adult. So if you see that an individual uses so many gadgets, use phones, tablets, laptops, PCs. So on an average, a individual or a professional is using 4 to 5 devices, and 25% using social media input. 27%. So it is, I think the percentage is lesser, but it is actually more. 27% are using social media. So by 2025, organizations that build a modern information management system will outperform their peers financially by 50%. That was a statement by Gartner, Mark Bearer, information management in the 21st century. So what he's saying is that by 2025, organizations that build a modern information management system will outperform their peers financially by 50%. So here you will have more financial competency, more competency if you use latest technology. That is why it is important to learn all these technology, right? Everyone should have access to the data they need. So that is the theme nowadays. So everyone, data is accessible to everyone. If you want to find out any information about anything, Google is there, Chat GPT is there, AI is there. So you name it and you have it. So that is why a lot of data is traveling across the globe, and there is a need to analyze the data and understand the data in a meaningful manner. So Power BI is a powerful new way to look or work with data, self-service business intelligence and analysis with Excel and the power of the cloud. Okay. So whenever we talk about data, which software comes to your mind? Whenever we talk about data, the first software that comes to mind is Excel, because Excel is a spreadsheet where you record the data, you manipulate the data, you work on the data, you do computation and all. Secondly, then comes SQL and other servers where you store the data stored. But nowadays the definition is changing, because when it comes to presenting the data, it is Power BI or Tableau. So we are no more concerned with only recording the data or computing with the data or doing some calculations or creating some data models, but we are wanting to represent the data in a visually appealing manner, and that is where Power BI come into picture. So 1 billion office users are there across the globe which are using Excel, and as we already discovered that visualization is a 4-step process where we remember Dave, DAVE. D stands for discover. A stands for analysis. V stands for visualization. And E stands for exploration. So we have to remember Dave, DAVE. So D stands for discovery, A stands for analysis, V stands for visualization, and E is for exploration. Once you analyze and visualize the data, then you explore the possible outcomes. So this all is there in Excel, but that was not sufficient. You have to share the data, you have to collaborate with people. So that is why you're using the cloud-based software, which is Power BI. So collaborate in Power BI for Office 365. 1 in 4 enterprise customers on Office 365. So what is Office 365? Office 365 is a cloud-based software or platform offered by Microsoft, where a user can access his files from anywhere across the globe, anywhere on the go. So you can access your reports when you're not carrying your laptop or your PC, or on your phone also you can access, because the files are stored not on any device but on cloud. So that is why now the world is moving to Excel through 365, where you can share, collaborate, ask questions, and mobility. That means your data is mobile, it is moving with you, it's on the go, and it is rapidly updating. It is a real-time updation. So whenever any transaction is happening, whenever any changes is happening in the data, the management or the CEO is getting the real-time information about the data. So basically it is scalable, manageable, and trusted. Because when we talk about data, the most important word that comes is privacy, security. Because data is personal in nature, whether it is financial data or it is data relating to yourself. Data should be protected, and that is also ensured by Power BI. So how do we start with this journey? You have to start with Excel, because in Excel you will analyze the data, you will import the data, you will store the data, you will create an Excel file when you are recording the data. So first is you discover how the data is presented, how the data is stored. So easily discover and assess public documents and collaborate data. Then you analyze the data, model and analyze hundreds of millions of rows of data. So that is possible using Power BI. There is unlimited number of data than you can actually work on. So you can present the data in a visually appealing manner, like this chart. You can see this map, you can see. So this is all we have seen in Tableau also. The same things are there in Power BI with even more powerful way. So you can explore. Now we'll have a demo on Power BI. We'll look into the features. Okay, so this is already discussed. Okay, now share and collaborate with Power BI for Office 365. Now how it is different with Tableau? So in Tableau, which is also a data visualization tool, we have seen that Tableau is divided into 3 categories. What are the 3 categories? Tableau desktop, Tableau public, and Tableau server. Okay, so Tableau desktop allows you to save your work on the system, and you can share the workbook with anyone, and the person who is having the Tableau desktop can view the workbook. Okay, but it is a paid software. You are allowed to use Tableau as a trial, as a free software for only 14 days. After 14 days or 2 weeks, you are supposed to purchase a subscription so as to continue using Tableau's desktop. But in case of Tableau public, it is open for all, it is open for public. So anyone can use Tableau public to present the data in a visually appealing manner, and you can share it with the world, and anyone who is having an access of the data can see it. So there is one disadvantage over here. What is that? Data is not secret anymore. Data is publicly available. So if you are sharing any data which is confidential, you cannot use Tableau public, because anyone can download the data, anyone has used the data. So we have to use Tableau desktop only, or big organizations or MNCs use Tableau server, because they have a huge amount of data on a daily basis. So they use Tableau server, where they upload the data on real-time basis, and they can share their report with the staff and the other stakeholders, right? So here in Power BI also, you can share and collaborate with Power BI for Office 365. So if a company or an individual purchases Power BI subscription, it is available for around 7,650 per month, 765 rupees only per month per user. So you can purchase that Power BI subscription and you can upload your reports. You can create a login ID and password and you can access and you can share it with anyone. And the person who has a sharing access, they can only view your data. So it is secured. So there are Power BI sites, shared queries, data refresh, data search, mobile access, and natural language queries. Now, what is NLQ? Natural language questions. What do you understand by this concept? NLQ, natural language questions. See, when you are all technical students, you must have learned coding. So whenever you have to do a query in any software like Python, SQL, C++, Java, what do you need to do? When you have a data and you want to extract any information from the data, how do you interact with these softwares? By writing a code. So you write a code in a language, in a particular language, you give a syntax, you give a command, and then that command is interpreted and that is how you get a result, desired result. But someone who doesn't know coding, can he get the desired information from the software? No. So basic information or advanced information of coding is required to get questions answered from any software, coding software. But here, it is natural language questioning. That means someone who is a non-technical person, who is not having any coding knowledge, can also write any question, type any question and get it answered from Power Query. Power BI. Because it is called as business intelligence. So Power BI internal mechanism does all the query coding in the backend and gives you the result in the front end. So that is why it is a powerful software which is used across the globe to work with the data and to analyze the data. So you don't have to learn any query language. You can just, with the help of AI, you can type in your natural language, in your normal human language, English language, and that interpretation will happen in the backend and you will get the answers to your questions. Right? So also you can share your data with your team. Team can also work. Keep reports up to date with scheduled data refresh. Now see, we need to understand this thing, that data is dynamic, it is not static. So every day a transaction is happening, some updation is happening. So you cannot say that I have created a report and that report will go on forever. No, the report has to be updated on a real-time basis. It has to be updated as any incidents happen, or any changes there in the data. So data refresh is there. So Power BI allows you to refresh your data from the given data source. So when you connect to the data from any data source, whether it is SQL or Oracle or Java or Excel or a CSV, whenever any changes or updation happen in the data source or in the data, your report automatically get refreshed. You don't have to add any line item, you don't have to add any code, you don't have to do anything, it is automatically done. Okay, so keep reports up to date with scheduled data refresh. You can set on what daily basis or weekly basis, how frequently you want the data to be refreshed. So there are three things. One is on-premise database, second is on-premise, third is cloud. So what do you understand by on-premise database or cloud database? What is the difference between the two?
On-premise database, that means the database which is
One person admin. Any one person can stand up and speak. Anyone? Yes, Akash.
one on-premise database means the database which is on the physical, only the person who is here or he can access it through the wires connected. And on cloud means those who have access to the cloud from anywhere over the world, they can access the data.
Correct. So on-premise means there is a physical location of the data. The data is stored on a server which is inbuilt in a premise, on a premise. And whatever systems or machines are connected with the server, those machines can access the database. But someone who is outside the premises, they cannot access the database. But if you move the data from the server to the cloud, that means now the information or the data is available to anyone who has access to the cloud, data on the cloud. Okay, so that is why we can say that now the data can be accessed by anyone and even multiple person at the same time. So when you go to any website like Amazon or Flipkart, what you are doing is you are wanting to buy a product, you are doing a query, and you are not the only one who is doing the query. There are millions and billions of users who are using the same database which is stored on the Google Cloud. And the cloud is responding with the queries that they are doing, and you are getting the result on the web page. And then you are doing the transaction. Millions of transactions are getting processed at the same time. That is because of the collaboration, and that is why this cloud service is important, and it is equally important to understand how it functions. So there is an integration between Workbook, Power BI for Office, and Data Management Gateway installed on the premises. All the three things are connected. That is how you are able to access any information available either on premises or on cloud. Data search. Now what, this is a new feature. What is that? You can search for public data, corporate data, or shared queries. So as we do Google search, we are looking for some information, we look for that information which is available on the Google. Now, do you always get the answer to your information on Google, or there are sometimes you don't get the answer also, a specific answer? Do you always get the answer to the queries that you do? No. Most of the cases we get, 99% times we will get, 1% there is a chance that we will not get the exact answer, and we'll get multiple answers, and that is more confusing as to which answer is reliable or which source is reliable and which one should I follow, right? But here, when you are looking for Power BI search or Power Query search, it will search only the data which is available on the public domain or on the data which you have provided. So it is authentic. Second, you can trust the data source, and third, you can trust the results which is available. So there are three types of search. One is public data, second is corporate data, and third is shared codes. So public data means any data which is available for public. For example, you want to find out any population or the COVID status across the globe, that data is available publicly. But if you want to find out what is happening in the companies, like you want to find out what is the shareholding pattern of Tata Group, that is also public data. But if you want to find out like who is going to acquire and what Tata is going to acquire next, that is a confidential information that is available only to the stakeholders, not anyone. So that is a corporate data. And what is shared queries? Shared queries are those frequently asked questions which is provided for the public, those who are wanting to know more about the company. So Power BI is available on the mobile as an application. So you can download Power BI for iOS as well as Android, and anyone can access to the reports on the go using their mobile devices. You don't require any laptop or you don't require any machine to view your data. So it is compatible with your mobile connectivity also. So stay connected with your mobile access to your reports and ask questions of your data in natural language. That is the most important feature of Power Query, Power BI. You can ask questions to Power BI in the natural language and you will get the answers. For examples, you have different states and different sales are happening over different states. You want to find out which state is giving you the highest sales. So you will just answer, you will ask this question, which state giving highest sales in the natural language, and you will get the answer. Okay, so it is very simple to use. So the fact that Power BI is a part of Office 365 is tremendous. One skill that all people have is Excel. With BI built on top of Excel, we don't have to train them on anything new. They can figure this out on their own. So that is the word of CIO of Mediacom. So Excel, everyone knows, and across the globe Excel is being used. But when it is combined with Power BI, so you are giving a powerful tool. It's like a cherry on the cake. So the data is already there, but now with business intelligence, you can make that data more meaningful by having more insights on the data. So powerful new way to work with data. So see, we need to understand that data is any information which is provided in a meaningful manner. Okay, so there is a difference between data and information. Data is generally raw in nature, and when you refine it, when you put it in a systematic manner, it becomes an information, right? So if I say 1 million, so 1 million is a fact, it's a data, but it is not an information. When I say 1 million Power BI users, it becomes an information that Power BI has got 1 million users. Okay, so that is the difference between data and information. So whenever we are working with data, there has to be a database, a data source, which can be Excel, Power, Query, SQL, or any other server that you can connect with and have the data updated. But once you connect, then you have to create visuals from the data so that you can present it to the management. So that is all available in Power BI that we already discussed. Now, next step is to jump into the practical usage of Power BI. So, how do you install Power BI? It's available for free on the Microsoft website. So, you can just type in www.powerbi.com and it will take you to the Office 365 website and you can start using it. So, that was an introduction about Power BI. Now, in the next phase, we will be looking into the practical aspect of Power BI. Okay. इसको stop कर दो. So wherever there is a bigger amount of data, it might happen that the Excel crashes. You might have to move to some other server or some other data source. But where the data is not that voluminous or there is a limited amount of data, but still you want some collaboration or you want to club that data together, there is a tool which you can use that is called as Power Query. And Power Query, what it will do, it will read the data from individual file. It will identify that there the columns are similar, common fields are there, and it will automatically append the data from each file and create one file for you. So you have to just give a source data to Power Query. You have to just specify the folder where 1000 files are stored, and that Power Query will actually work with the data and it will combine all the files together and give you a combined file which you can work on. So basically it is a tool which is helping you in combining the data, cleaning the data, manipulating the data so that the data becomes usable. Right? So that is the use of Power Query. So Power Query works with only Excel because it is built in such a manner where it can read the data only from Excel. But where do you see Power Query? If you go to Microsoft Store or if you search on Google, you will not find any software or any application called as Power Query. But when you open Excel and you go to the data section, you will get data from, and it will give you many options like a folder or a website or another table. That is where when you select any data source, it will take you to Power Query. Okay, so now I'm going to show you how you can combine different data or clean the data in Power Query and how we can work on multiple data sources at the same time. Okay, because whenever we talk about visualization or preparing reports, the first step is to have the right data with you. Because if you do not have the right data set, will the report that you create will be right? No. Will it be of any use? No. The answer is no. So first we should have a right data source. We should have the correct data to work on. When we have a cleaner data or the right data or the data that is required by the management for their analysis, then only you can start working with the visuals and you can create a report. Am I right? Okay, so with this scenario we will take an example where there are 4 different zones, or you can say 4 different regions where sales is happening, and each is having a same format. Data structure is always same across the organization, because they want to capture the similar information from different location, right? You will not have different the information can be different, but the source of information or the category of information will be same, right? So we will combine these files and then we will import into Power BI, and then we will work on how to create visuals and prepare a report. So visualization is only 20-25% of it. The major time that is spent of any data analyst is towards cleaning the data, manipulating the data, and making it meaningful. Removing all the bugs, removing all the unwanted information from the data source. Then once you have the clean data, then only you can start working with the visuals. That is the primary responsibility or the role of a data analyst, to first look at the data, clean the data so that it does not have any information which is not required, and secondly blend the data or join the data with the required sources and then work with the data source.